Okay, so this is definitely a rough talks kind of moment. This is what's left over from my lunch, which was the most random thing ever. I had like 3 or 4 pea pods that I bred myself on my balcony. Yay, they were really nice. I had some bread that I completely I don't know what happened to the timer on the toaster. It was totally off. Sorry. My cold is still lingering. That's also why I sound so nasal. Anyway, burned my bread really badly, scraped that off. Then I served it with some hummus and topped it with some homemade pesto that I made some days ago, which tasted really nice, but it looked terrible because there was fresh basil in, and even though I put lemon in, it had just turned really kind of brown, so it looked terrible. And then I had it with just like a can of tomato soup. That's been one of my lazy go-to foods lately. It's just buying, I think it's Heinz, just a, not sponsored, just a can of tomato soup. Heat that and have something British with it. So that was my lunch. And then I was, for whatever reason, I've been watching Emma Chamberlain videos today. I think it's because I kept getting recommended this video by Forbes where she's talking about this coffee company she has. And I know of her as like a phenomenon, but I never watched her. And then I'm watching it right now, and I'm watching a video she made like half a year ago, and it just suddenly hit me that this thing I'm doing with these rough talks where I'm just not, being my best self, but just showing up anyway. It kind of reminded me of some of the clips she's doing where she's like, she has her retainer in, she's taking it out and in, and hair is all messed up, and yeah, it's one of those classical, oh yeah, I'm not even a little bit original. We're all just people, hey? I'll bleep out these coughs, but that's about the extent of it. My cold is still lingering. It's been going on for so long. Feels like a month. And I've been just like slowly starting to feel better. But yesterday I had a really long walk, a really long day. I went to look at my land art project on the Falster Island, where I bought a small plot of land, and I call it the Patchwork Forest because I'm planning on buying more plots of land. And I'm glad I've only bought one for now, but because just trying to maintain that while living in Copenhagen is a couple hours away, it's not easy. But my sweet old dad, who's 80, drove me there yesterday and helped me out so much. So it was just a long day driving down there and then just full on working there. We cut down this shrub thing that used to be huge. I'm kind of trying to make like a little clearing within the lot that I want to make into like a sort of outdoor workshop type area where I can like store some of my things. And it's kind of outside of the wind. It can be quite windy there. And there's been this kind of shrubbery bush thing, and that word doesn't do it justice because it's like as tall as a building when we came. And then last year we cut it down, so it was only about my size, like a person size. And I had been thinking about then cutting it into something to make it like a chair or something. And I just wasn't feeling it. And I more just wanted to have this space where I could have my little workshop type things and just feel like a little, I don't know, like a little pocket of something else. So, oh, sorry. I asked my dad to come and help me. He has like a sort of baby chainsaw kind of thing. So he cut it down as much as he could. So it's just a little stump lift. And ideally, we would then dig up the roots. But because it's been such a gigantic bush, the roots are also gigantic. It has all these shoot-offs with all the little branches coming out. and it's just impossible. So instead, what we did is that we covered it with like a tarp, and then we put what we had cut off from the bush shrubbery thing, put that on top of the tarp to weigh it down. And then the idea is to kind of strangle it, basically. So I'm like killing the shrub with itself. It sounds really nasty when you put it like that. Um, but I mean, nature is hardcore. It's life and death all the time, and I'm not gonna romanticize it. So yeah, I'm fine with trying to kill this shrub. I just wonder if I'm gonna manage. I kind of have this idea that I'm not gonna manage. Like I think it's just gonna be like a big fight, and I think I'm gonna lose. Um, but yeah, I guess we'll see. So we did that, and then I checked on this willow art piece that I planted in the springtime, and just tried to maintain that and tried to put up some protection so people don't walk all over it. And I scared the shit out of a hedgehog while I was doing that. And it scared the shit out of me. I screamed when I saw it because I was just surprised that it was so close, and it just went into like a cute little ball and just stayed like that. So I felt a little bad, but like we just scared each other. Nothing happened. I was just cutting down some tall grass to put like I'm removing weeds around the willow that I planted, and then I was putting offcuts around it afterwards. And that way you can kind of keep the moisture in, and you can kind of make it harder for new plants to come up. And I was doing that, and then it suddenly just right next to my hand there was a hedgehog. So I didn't like cut into it or anything. I just got really close to it, and I got really scared because I was so surprised. I had no idea it would be there. So yeah, I'm really I'm really happy. Apparently there's a hedgehog living in the patchwork forest. And we saw a bunch of butterflies and lots of different bees and beetles, and my dad was excited that he could collect all the rocks that he wanted for his own garden, because he's also doing a lot of biodiversity stuff in his garden. And we just had a pretty great day. It was supposed to rain a lot, and then in the end, it only rained while we were driving. So it was a pretty perfect day. And we ended up with a nice dinner back at his and his wife's place. So 10 out of 10. But I could just tell already last night I was just so sore everywhere. And normally I would be kind of tired and sore after a day like that. I have these different issues. Had this old weaving injury from when I used to hand weave for the fashion industry. And I overdid it so much for years until I gave myself some permanent damage that's still haunting me. So I knew it would be a little rough, but I had underestimated how sick I still am, because I just feel a million times more sick. I was just tired to the point of being out of it last night. I just got home, took a shower, took some cough medicine, and went to bed, basically. I slept like 9 hours, which is a lot for me. I can normally barely sleep 7 hours. And that's one of those things they don't tell you about getting older. It seems to become impossible to sleep in. Like 9 is my absolute maximum. I used to be able to sleep just all through the afternoon. I don't know how I did that. Anyway, yeah, so that's where I'm at today. Feeling very rough, feeling pretty sore. I think the one thing that saved me is that last night when I got back, before I went to bed, I did a lot of like stretching exercises. I think that's one of those things when you're getting older, stretching stops being something you feel like you ought to do after doing sports, and just becomes, at least in my case, just something I need to do, preferably every single day, if I don't want to feel like absolute shit. So I'm glad I did that. I think that's helped me. So I'm sore today, but I am not like screaming from pain. And once I've digested my big weird lunch, I'm definitely gonna do some more stretching. I also have to do a lot of social media work for the theater people. And I normally don't order many things online, but right now I have like 5 orders, and I feel like it's a whole little part-time gig, just keeping on top of what's coming in where. And one of them is supposed to be delivered to my home address today. So I'm kind of scared of leaving the house because it's a really big order with lots of really nice, cool stuff for doing some experiments for a new art project. And I don't know how far away they're gonna put it if I'm not home. So I'd really rather be home to um, receive it, even though I really feel like going for a walk would do me good. So I hope they arrive soon. So yeah, I also just feel behind in life on everything. All right, well, that was me. Just yeah, updating, I guess. I'd really like to change, if not my attitude, then like my perception. I feel like my perception is always that I'm behind and stressed and should be doing more, because I'm trying to be really careful with myself, listening to my body when it's sore, not doing something that's going to make it worse. When I'm tired, actually allowing myself to rest. But it's kind of like there's this discrepancy between having realized how I need to treat myself, but then at the same time still expecting myself to be able to get all the stuff done that I would get done before I was doing this being kinder to myself thing. So I need a sort of adjustment to not expect myself to be doing the insane amount of work that I used to be able to do. I used to work like 12, 16 hours a day for years and years and years. And it made me have like several stress breakdowns. Definitely don't recommend it. And I feel like because of that, probably I'm not able to work very many hours a day. At least it feels like very little. I think I'm actually getting quite a bit done, but to me it always feels like too little, just because I'm used to doing so much. So I don't recommend. Don't overwork. Don't believe the hype. It's not cool. It's cool to look after yourself and your body and your mind. And I hope I'll be able to kind of teach myself to manage my expectations so that I can feel more at peace and at ease with what I'm doing. Like, I think a good example of it is I have a tendency of doing these really long to-do lists, and I'm not able to do all of the things in a day. Sorry. Um, so then I end up feeling disappointed, even though I got a lot of stuff done. So I'm really practicing. I have usually like long to-do lists just to not forget everything that I'm doing. But then I try to do just like a post-it note for each day and just saying, this is what I have to do today. And it has to be preferably like 3 to 4 things. And then if I do other things, that's great. But when I have more realistic expectations and I actually meet them, and I sometimes even do more than that, it feels a million times better than just having these 10, 15 point to-do lists and not managing to follow through, even though it's completely unrealistic to follow through on doing so many things. So yeah, it's all a work in progress, right? I'm glad that I'm getting better at taking care of myself. That was needed, but this is the next thing. Having more realistic expectations of myself, and I think if I can manage to do that, I think it'll help this perception that I have right now, where I always feel like a little stressed and a little behind and like I'm not doing good enough, you know? And I think if I have more realistic expectations of what I should have done in a specific time frame, I think I'll feel a lot more happy. So lower my expectations. That's my new deal. yeah, that's what I have to say. Do you have a big deal? A big deal? Oh man. Yeah, I just feel like doing like a shout out to like ask you to comment something, but like realistically, I only have one commenter, and I don't want to say only because it's Kim, and Kim, he is always commenting, and I appreciate it so much. So maybe instead of trying to do a shout out asking everyone to comment, I'll just say, hey Kim, I hope you're doing great, and what's your thing that you're working on lately? I'd love to hear. I'm in I'm in one of these moods where I just feel like such a joke. I guess I'm feeling really critical of myself, so I'm gonna end this here because I don't have a good outro. Okay, bye bye. Bye bye bye.